Iceland sits on a mantle plume on the mid-Atlantic ridge, which formed 70 million years ago when Pangaea split, forming the North American plate and the Eurasian plate. This plume is shaped like a headless cat, and the magma from this plume isn't very hot. The ridge spreads very slowly, around 2 centimetres a year, which is 1 centimetre either side. Iceland formed on this fracture where the magma emerges. This is the only place over sea where this can be observed. This is also the best example of a garbon, an elongated trough of land produced by the subsidence of the Earth's crust between faults. This fracture stretches all the way from Newfoundland and the British Isles to Greenland and Scandinavia, and is delineated by fractions and volcanoes that create Iceland.
We visited a couple volcanoes throughout the week. One of these was the Eldfell volcano, located in the Western Islands off the south coast. Its most recent eruption was in 1973, which was catastrophic at the time, with the damage still visible in present day.
We're going to be taking some lichen samples as we climb up, measuring the size of the colonies on the red line, which is apparently right above where the lava is. So hopefully it'll be nice and warm, and we won't be too cold and get too wet.
Are you sure about that?
So we're at the front!
The eruption produced the Eldfell cinder cone, and was an explosive eruption which sent gas, ash, and lava high up into the atmosphere. The lava flow almost cut out the fishing port, which would have cut off the island's main income source, and with the port not being covered, the island has been able to rebuild after all these years.
Feeling, guys?
Refreshed!
We're about to take some soil measurements down here, walk all the way up to this volcano here and see if the ground temperature changes.
Woo! It's really anticlimactic, there wasn't really much here.
Explain why we can see all this red around here.
It's 8.9.
Basalt.
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 Yeah.
Basalt!
The other volcano we visited was the Geldingadalur volcano, formed in the last glacial period 25 miles from Reykjavik, and was an example of an effusive eruption. This means it has low viscosity, and gas can easily escape, forming lava flows which could be seen easily by the group at the base of the volcano. This would have been a far more gentle explosion compared with Eldfell, as well as being located in a rural area compared to the fishing town Eldfell was located in, which made it far more catastrophic.
We can see the lava flow from this direction, and as you can see it's still very hot underneath because of the Pahoehoe flow preserving the underneath of the lava while keeping a crust on the top. Oh, it smells like shit.
That's probably the hydrogen hoo-ha. Knock us on our arses if we...
Please explain this scientifically.
The hydrogen, I don't actually know what the second part of it is, but hydrogen sulfate or something. If you breathe too much, it'll knock you on your arse.
Which is why we're standing right by it.
Yeah, but it's fine.
The presence of volcanic eruptions are the best known natural displays of geothermal energy. Temperature readings taken up the Eldfell volcano showed very little variations in temperature as seen in the stratigraph plotted. However, we expected to find a slight increase closer to the crater. Similarly, on the other volcano we visited, steam from the hot lava below the Pahoehoe flow crust is evidence of a constant geothermal heat source, and both of these together show geothermal activity in the area.
On the fourth day, we headed to Selton, where we took the temperature readings and pH readings of the water and surface as we walked around the area. We came across mud pools. The soils around the mud pools is rich in sulfur and causes it to change to a yellow colour due to contact with other minerals present in the soil. The red soil shows oxidation due to prolonged exposure to oxygen in the atmosphere.
I'm literally on my own because it smells so bad. It's so awful.
It stinks like eggy farts, man.
Yeah.
Eggy. We did. Get in there, lads.
Mud pools can go beyond 100 degrees Celsius due to geothermal activity beneath the surface. Water is superheated as it flows down and rises as steam and boiling water. The valley of Reykjavik, which is also known as a steamy valley due to hot rivers and springs producing steam. Geothermal activity begins at a depth of 5 kilometers here, with temperatures reaching 450 degrees at a depth of 4 kilometers. We also journeyed to the geyser site, where we've witnessed a geyser eruption which occurs every 4 to 10 minutes. Geysers are formed when water flows through cracks in the ground and is heated by a geothermal plume. Pressure is built, and once released, the water is shot up to the surface, creating the geysers.
So cool!
There are 9 geothermal plants in Iceland. 2 produce less than 1 megawatt of energy, so aren't counted. The heat source of the Hengil system heats water from volcanic rock to produce geothermal fluid. This fluid is pumped into separators where rising gas powers low and high pressure turbines and powers generators.
Thermal plant, which name I can't pronounce, but it's really cool. This place produces 303 megawatts of electricity and then also produces 90% of hot water for Reykjavik, which is pretty cool.
The Iceland Deep Drilling project is focused on drilling deeper and tapping into hotter geothermal fluid to increase the efficiency of energy production. And they also help in carbon capture and storage after this. So they're almost carbon neutral and they're trying to be carbon positive in the future.
Iceland's energy is 100% renewable, and 30% of this renewable energy comes from geothermal energy. The main uses of geothermal energy over Iceland are heating homes, generating electricity, heating geothermal spas, warming streets to avoid slipperiness, and for the greenhouses in order to grow organic fruits and vegetables. At the beginning of the 20th century, Icelanders only used geothermal energy to bake bread and for bathing in hot springs, compared to the modern day where the country revolves around harnessing their geothermal energy.
Tomato.
The Fridheimar greenhouse utilises geothermal technology. They produce 370 tonnes of tomatoes per year. Geothermal energy has made tomato production possible even through the harsh Icelandic winters. They produce over 15% of Iceland's tomato market. A borehole allows water to be drawn from geothermal sources generated by volcanic activity directly beneath the farm, which is only 200 metres from the greenhouse. We visited this greenhouse on day 6 and walked past all of the vines and feasted on some fresh soup.
What would you give the tomato out of 10?
10, that's so tasty.
I think that was really good.
So
What would you
tasty.
give it, Cameron?
I would give it an 11.
11 out of 10.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I've
Wow, you
had
don't
better
have tomatoes,
tomatoes.
Thermal energy is the most common and vital feature of Iceland. As we have come to learn within this expedition, every aspect of life on Iceland is affected by its natural production and manipulation of heat, from the environment to the people and the economy. The data and methods we used within the experience also allows us to think in further detail on the past and future of this volcanic nucleus. The scientific methods and observations produce a contextual understanding of the processes taking place. Countries and governments who experience events such as volcanic eruptions or other disasters have much to learn from the Icelandic people who choose to learn and adapt and overcome the effect of these events. The most prominent being the production of heat and electronic energy from the thermal processes taking place, but also the acceptance that this is part of the natural order, so it is not to be disturbed or altered, but developed upon and further learning taking place.